And actually, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
Because I know me. And
So that's our life mission. That's the McShinn's mission.
You don't have to understand my boundaries to respect them.
No, I'm the president, co-founder of McShinn, a person in long-term recovery from substance use disorders.
How do you go about fixing the damage in the trust between the family after you get out?
Okay, I gotta work on that.
Celebrating my 6 months. Didn't have cake.
Yeah.
Gosh, you showed up. Hey, you guys, I'm Monique Runge, and welcome to the McShinn Foundation's Get in the Herd podcast. So today, I'm so excited. It's been long waited. I'm joined here today by Charity Thompson. She is the agency director at Aware Recovery. So Charity, tell me a little bit about Aware.
So Aware Recovery Care. We are an in-home addiction treatment organization. So we treat the clients in their home. We treat the client, we help the family, and we help them recover where they live. So our treatment program is up to 52 weeks long, a year long. We mobilize a multidisciplinary treatment team. That treatment team is comprised of 2 peer recovery specialists, a licensed clinician that's a care coordinator that's either a licensed clinician or a licensed nurse. We also have our family education facilitator that works with the allies of the family members or loved ones, best friend, sponsor, whomever is also supporting the individual in their recovery journey, as well as internal psychotherapist options. And we also contract out family systems therapy. Because we want individuals to have the opportunity to actually, participate in therapy with their family members if need be as well.
Awesome. So Aware, it's like perfect for someone that like works a lot, right? They might not be able to take a full 28 days or 30 days or 60 or 90 days to go to treatment. So it's amazing because you guys can just bring that to them whenever. Is there any type of like schedule range, or is that kind of per client whenever it fits their schedule?
So for the most part, whenever it fits their schedule, we do try to cut off visits at a certain time of the day. But outside of that, hey, if they need to have a visit during their lunch break, it's during their lunch break. If they need to have a visit on a Saturday, it's on a Saturday. If they need to have a visit outside of the ballpark while their kids are practicing, that's where the visit happens. So we try to remove some of those limitations that may be presented with going into an office or into a facility. As you stated, sometimes individuals have a lot of responsibility, and they may be sacrificing a lot to leave their jobs for some time or to leave their families if they're the sole provider, and that can be a tough situation. So we want to try to help individuals as much as possible.
That's amazing. That's like brings another aspect to like meeting them where they are, right? Because it's like we always say, let's meet them where they are. You are literally meeting them where they are.
Yeah, this is in a literal sense.
That's incredible. So tell me a little bit about how you came into like this field. Kind of what was the drive behind it, and then what led you to Aware eventually?
So I could probably speak for 2 to 3 days about what brought me into this field. But, in the shortest version or format for answering that, I'll typically say, my life experience. I grew up around addiction, in the midst of addiction. I never mind sharing that my father struggled with addiction, and so I watched that. I tried to figure out what was happening in my world, in his world around me. So I like to think that very early on, I was able to have a basic understanding of this, that this was a problem, that this was a problem that was affecting him. This was a problem that was ultimately affecting me,
Yeah.
because, that addiction led to, other consequences for him, including incarceration. And so for me as a child, there's a lot of, moving around, moving parts and, being without him. So ultimately, that is what kind of drove that interest for working in addiction treatment. Many other things led me to this field, to the helping professions. Again, my experiences growing up, and people never seem to believe me, but I actually didn't really talk much until I was about 12 years old. And
Really?
yeah, people are like, you didn't talk? And I'm like, I'm so serious. You could ask me a question and I would shake my head yes or shake my head no.
No, not like the Silent Twins.
Yes,
Oh my gosh.
very, very much silent. And so, of course, I would have conversations with those that I felt really close to. But even they didn't really get like in-depth conversations from me.
Do you feel like that was like a little bit because of like your home life and you didn't feel like hurt or you didn't feel heard or feel seen and
Not so much that. I think I was just a curious kid, a smart kid. I loved school,
yeah.
very curious, loved to learn. And I think I was just trying to figure out life, the world. Like, what does this mean? Why is this happening? Everything from losing a parent at 4, like a kid, as a child, you go to school and you're surrounded by other kids that talk about their parents, and there are years in your life where neither of them are present for different reasons. One that you'll never get back, and one that struggle with something and is temporarily gone. So I think I was just trying to figure life out. Now, why I was trying to do that as a kid, I have no idea.
look, reincarnation.
Yeah, but I was really like interested in understanding what was happening around me, and I think for those reasons I just observed. I paid attention. I retained a lot. I listened, and eventually I started to ask questions, specifically about the addiction, because I listened. I paid attention.
Yeah.
And, one day my dad decided, hey, I think you will understand, so let me explain to you. So he clarified some things for me. And I'd say probably early high school, late middle school, I decided that I wanted to help, but more specifically children initially. In my mind, I wanted to be able to provide a space for children that had no voice, and not in a literal sense, but
Yeah.
they didn't feel comfortable talking or they didn't know what to say. And so originally, child psychology or child psychiatry was my interest. And so I entered the field working with children, teens, and families.
I mean, so that's one of the many letters behind your name. I will say, you guys look her up. I'm serious. It's a long list of letters. I know it took probably years of schooling, education, and probably experience to actually get all those letters. What did you feel like? Where did you feel like that turning point was for you to say, okay, well now I want to help people like my dad?
Okay. So yeah, that turning point, I kind of actually I accidentally ran into that. When I completed my master's program, I was in the job market, and I just threw an application out to several places, and I ended up applying to work at RBHA.
Oh you went to
Yeah.
RBHA.
Yeah, and I looked at the qualifications and I'm like, well, I have the education, I have the credentials. I don't have the years of experience. Like my education exceeds my age, which may be pretty obvious. And so I'm like, well, actually, I haven't had the opportunity to work this many years, but I'm like, I have quite a bit of experience and knowledge, even though I don't have the 5 years in the field because I actually hadn't even
You lived
been.
it, though. You know,
Yeah,
with
yeah.
your, with
So
your dad.
I decided to go ahead and throw my application out there, and I received an interview. So I always feel like, being genuine and like honesty is the best policy. So, I go into an interview with my truth.
Yeah.
I don't try to make up answers or responses prior. And so I did that with that interview, and I was offered the job, and I was pleasantly surprised. And so my hiring manager at the time, whom I still talk to this day to get feedback, and, I value her opinion a lot. I asked her, I sincerely asked her, like, why did you hire me? Like, who asked that question? But I was curious. I'm like,
There's that curiosity again.
like, why did you hire me? And ultimately she said, well, she was like, you seem teachable. So even if you didn't have the years of experience, I felt like that you would get it. So I went into that role, and in that role, I was the clinician for that mental health team at RBHA, and so I was assigned the most complex cases, which all happened to be co-occurring.
Yeah.
Right. So, what would you have it?
Yeah.
Here's my upbringing, emerging in my career. Right. So that's where I was first introduced to, working with addiction. For the most part, I may have seen it a bit with working with children and families because you have to work with the parents and families, but not to that extent. So, of course, working with co-occurring population, it was all too obvious that I can't treat the serious mental illness without helping to treat the addiction. Like, it's not going to work. So I was invested, and how did I initially, learn how to treat the addiction, or who did I seek? I sought peers. I sought peers on my team.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I'm like, I really want to help this person. Help me help them. What should I do? And they pretty much gave me a basic blueprint of some of the simple things that I could do, including like attending 12-step groups with them. Like,
You went to some
that
12-step groups.
That was a point that I was going to NA and AA groups 3 to 4 days a week to support the people that I was trying to help. Yeah, and that was like my basic start, and I could see how effective that was for them.
Yeah.
Because that can be frightening, right? To have to show up and admit to this and, submit to this. So from there, I began to actually really have a deep passion for addiction treatment. So much so that I crossed over into substance use disorder treatment specifically. And from there, hey.
So, so out of where you guys, I'm sure, promote different pathways. So what other pathways do you guys agree with other than 12-step?
I don't even think it's a matter of what we agree with, because we don't actually, we don't focus on what we believe to be the right way. Honestly, it's do you feel like works for you. Now we have our peers that will educate our clients about the different pathways and allow them to make the decision about what's best for them.
How do you measure success at Aware? What would be considered? success?
How do you measure success at Aware? Well, I could emphasize a treatment plan, right? You know, when an individual identifies what their goals are, and we review that treatment plan to see where they are. But honestly, I think success for us is, you know, you kept showing up. You keep trying. You know, even if, you know, there's a slip, you try again. You try again. You try a different angle. You try a different path. That's success to me.
Yeah, so not giving up is,
Yeah.
we like that here too.
Yeah, I love that, right? It's like, it doesn't matter how many times you fall down,
Yeah.
but like, just please keep getting back up, right? Because the second you just lay there, it's just kind of when it all comes crashing down.
Yeah.
So coming from like the clinical side, right? Did you ever feel like your perspectives about addiction or substance use disorder changed once you kind of saw how it was like treating individuals like hands-on? Because I feel like sometimes from the clinical side, without that maybe lived experience of even having someone close to them having substance use disorder, it's like almost like you're doing something wrong and we have to fix you,
Yeah.
instead of like, you're sick and we want to help you get better.
Yeah.
You know?
It may seem like a cliche response, but no, I don't think I ever went through that period. Like you said, I actually lived through it with someone, the closest person to me. So I never went in like, we have to fix you.
That's
That was,
refreshing.
you know,
That's refreshing.
no, I view it as I just want to help you to live a better life.
Yeah.
Whatever that looks like for you.
Can I ask you, how's your dad's recovery looking like now?
Hey, it's he's been now in recovery for about 23 years. Yeah. So
snap for that. That's incredible.
amazing person, and I actually at some point a few years ago, I'm like, hey, you should do this. Like, you should get.
You
into
should
the
be a
field.
peer. Yeah.
And he's like, no, I'm too old for that now. So you know, he can just kind of give gems. you
That's
know,
incredible.
Just in speaking with others, and we still have many family members that are actively in the struggle.
Yeah.
And so I still have family members that call and say, Charity, what do I do?
Yeah.
Like, why won't they just stop? So everybody doesn't quite understand that it's not that easy. It's not that simple. So it's constantly educating my family and friends about this.
And I feel like you have to kind of do it even more so, like, at least I know within, like, my family, like, within the Black community, we kind of, like, don't really understand addiction as a disease. We just kind of, like, brush people off, like, oh, that's so-and-so, like, oh, you just a crackhead, like, don't pay no mind, like, don't pay him any mind, instead of being like, okay, they need help. And I feel like it's so hard for people within that community to just take that leap
Yeah.
and get the resources that they need, because they might not know that there are resources out there. How did your dad, because 23, I think about this now, it's difficult for people to get resources. How did your dad do it 23 years ago?
Honestly, it's probably not the way in which we would want
Yeah.
an individual to enter the recovery journey, but incarceration. It was kind of flat out like, hey,
Yeah.
boom. And from that point, I think it was a mental thing.
Yeah.
That he decided to try to become stronger. I think in that time period, he was able to process kind of how he arrived to that place. So again, I don't think I can actually share the depths of my story without saying that, losing my mom at 4 had not only a huge impact on me, but him.
Yeah.
This is his wife. He has a child. Okay, how do I handle this? What am I going to do? So I think he was able to process that in that downtime. Whereas before, he actually didn't ever allow himself any time to think about it.
Yeah.
Right? Let's just mask all of this.
Yeah.
Because this is a lot.
I feel like a lot of people need, I won't say that it's right to continuously lock people up for like possession charges. I 100% believe in like, let's get them help, to kind of lower the recidivism rates. But I feel like a lot of people that have had extended time incarcerated at like once, that is the time when they you have no choice, right? But to sit down and kind of reflect.
Yeah.
You might be able to compartmentalize and be delusional about it for a little bit, but after a little while, you're like, okay.
Yeah, you're probably going to end up facing yourself, you know, in those moments of solitude. You can't really run.
Right.
Nowhere to go. Can't
Who
hide.
do I run to?
Coming from like a more like the clinical side, right? Can you talk a little bit about the role that spirituality plays in addiction recovery, or what you see?
That's a question.
That's a good one.
From a clinical angle, I don't know if I really have a response for you.
What have you seen, witnessed, though? Have you seen anything that...
I think that most of us, we do try to gear treatment towards the individual. So you have some individuals that place a lot more importance on their spirituality in that aspect of their lives. And for them, it plays a huge role in their treatment. For others, they may not be as invested in that. So there may be a learning curve there and them trying to figure out, what does this mean to me? And so maybe at some point it becomes of great importance, but maybe initially, like, I have no idea what that is. I'm not interested in that. So I think that would vary based on the individual, honestly.
I agree. Yeah. Just like there's all different types of pathways, and meeting people where they're at, whichever pathway that they take, people are going to take to different things. Some people love going to church every week or 3 times a week or 4 times a week, Or
every day.
Or every day. Some people might place their importance on 12-step meetings every day. Other people their spirituality might come from meditation and like yoga and wellness, working out, which, it might take them a little while for them to realize that that's their version of spirituality,
it's
right?
What is
that
spirituality to you?
Yeah.
For one person it can be religion, and for the next it can be not related to religion at all.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I think that's...
I'm always, thinking, like, I'm always trying to, I guess, figure out how, like, science and, like God can be connected in some way.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a science we don't understand.
Yeah, I actually went to a Christian university for my master's. So.
Really? Liberty?
Yes.
Was it Liberty?
Yes. So you actually have to integrate the two.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So what did you, like, can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're taking me back. I guess, again, it's really based on your religion, and so that was a specific type of religion, so we had to utilize that religion and try to integrate that with science. So for me, it was ultimately just taking the pieces of the science and explaining it in a way that you are able to utilize the religious piece to understand how this science potentially relates to this, right? An example of like, helpers and people that are meant to aid and give help, right? In whatever way that may be. Could be scientific, but there are people that have a purpose for helping and aiding others, even if that's based on a science. So it's kind of like a twofold, double edge, but
I mean, we're kind of all helpers, right? I mean, our entire field, it's like that's what we do. Our whole lives are service work, basically.
Yeah.
That's so I have a question. I was thinking, like, so you are what we would call like normal, right? Like quote unquote normal. Like
Am I? I don't know.
I guess that's what I guess that's what the books say, right? Like you don't have substance use disorder, but you work in substance use disorder, right? So you're like surrounded by this all the time. How does that translate into like your social life? Like, do you find yourself kind of gravitating towards people that might not be in recovery, but have like certain disciplines in their lives, or when it comes to like friends or like love interest, or, does that kind of translate?
I'm a people person.
Yeah.
So I think I just gravitate towards good energy.
That's good.
Honestly. I don't have a certain type of person that I prefer to be around, as long as it's not doing,
like as long as you ain't doing too much
damage to me, as a person. I don't think I have any specifics,
She's normal. And wait, hold on. I was about to make a broadcast, and she's single. Are you? I jumped the gun there, you guys. Don't all hop in the PMs yet.
What is single?
Right. I don't even know what that means. You're
definitions.
You're single if you're unmarried.
Not married.
So
facts. That is very true.
So in that regard, yeah.
Okay, do not hop in the DMs, you guys. I don't think that's like no go. So Charity, when did you start at Aware?
I've been at Aware for about 14 months now.
14 months. And in that 14 months, for me, what I've seen, right, it's like you have gone up like so much and so quickly. How do you feel like you were able to do that? It's like, do you feel like it's like because of the combinations of like all your education and all this amazing like clinical background, but then also you have this like lived experience of like, and that connection piece when it comes to addiction? Do you feel like they just saw that and they were like, we have got to have Charity on this?
Monique, I that is always a hard question for me to answer. I can tell you what people have said to me.
Okay, please.
But
spill the tea.
I mean, I think ultimately, like I said, I'm genuinely in this.
Yeah.
And have a real passion for what I do. So, I'm not like and it is not one of those things where it's like, okay, I tried to help someone today and
my job's done.
It didn't. Yeah, that's it. Like that's not how I am. I'm a let's go back to the drawing board type of person. I'm a, let's sit down and figure out what will work for this person. That didn't work. Okay, it's cool. Let's try it again tomorrow. And I think people notice that about me. And so, I'm clinical, very empathic, but I'm also very logical. And I just think maybe the combination of the two is kind of how I ended up coming into the role that I'm in. If that answers your question, it may not, but
I get it.
I think that's.
Yeah.
I feel like that
you
was a good
know,
answer.
Yeah.
And so your title now is agency director, correct?
Yes.
For all of Virginia.
Yes.
That's a big.
It's a big role, yeah.
That's a very big role.
Here at here at McShane, like in regards to family, like we have a family night Wednesdays where the families can come and participate and kind of talk with the substance abuse counselor together with the family with the, but doing like at Aware is a like in-home type of treatment. How does the family member's role like what is there a role in that? Is it different? Like here we kind of stress healthy boundaries, like saying no, and how do you do that like while the person is still in the home?
The family plays a huge role, and we try to place such an emphasis on the importance of family and the role that they play in an individual's treatment and recovery journey. So we work alongside the family as we work alongside the individual. We have individualized sessions with family members, and we also have family meetings and with the family and the individual that's in treatment with us throughout the entire year.
So they're interacting just as much as
Wow.
the participant or the
Yes. Sometimes more.
Wow.
I can see that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do they have like direct like a phone number that they can call the peer also to be like, hey, we're really struggling right now. We need you to come by, even though it's not the client, but like let's say it's the mother or the spouse.
Yeah, so they typically have access to the entire treatment team that's assigned to their loved one.
It's like a package deal.
I
Yeah.
know.
Yeah, so again, they're receiving their form of treatment from our family education facilitator. They also have contact for the peers or for the care coordinators, where they can reach out and say, hey, so-and-so has been struggling with this, that, and the third, maybe just give insight. But at the same time, that family education facilitator is working with them, as you emphasize healthy boundaries. Sometimes you have to stress, like, taking care of yourself doesn't mean that you don't love your loved one, but maybe find some balance because you're not taking care of yourself as you're trying to help them. So let us help you to better help them.
You can't pour out of an empty cup. Yeah.
I know, that's what they say.
That's like great advice. I love that. I didn't realize that you guys did so much with family and loved ones also.
Yeah.
That's incredible. The fact that you have in-home, we're going to meet you where you're at, but also your family members get access to all this too. Like Art was saying, that's like a package deal.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible. So you guys accept Anthem
Yes.
insurance.
Yes.
Okay. All Anthem. Well, not Medicaid Anthem,
Not Medicaid.
but regular Anthem, like commercial Anthem from like
Yes.
employers and stuff, right?
Yep. And beginning in July, we should be able to accept the state employees Anthem plan.
Wow.
We'll be able to expand access.
And you know what? I feel like that's such a good thing because I don't know if this is true, but just how I would think about it is it's like a lot of people in those jobs, like you say, a lot of people have a lot to lose, right? By like saying, hey, I have to go into treatment for 30 days. I feel like that's going to help save so many people from just spiraling and hiding everything, right? To be like, okay, well now I don't have to necessarily like go to my boss and say like, hey, I need to go leave for 30 days, but I can work on this.
Yeah.
And before it gets out of hand.
Yeah.
So that's incredible. We need that.
So
sure.
sometimes the environment where the person's coming from can, I would say a lot of times, be like a huge
Trigger?
issue. Yeah, trigger. Has there ever been a case where in-home treatment may not be a good fit just because the environment they're in, like they got to have that separation. Like, how do you deal with that type of situation?
Yeah, so just with any method of treatment, it's not always the perfect type of treatment for everybody at that time. So yes, we are realistic about that, and we will refer out and we will utilize other resources. We've had individuals that relocate into sober living homes, so your home is just wherever you live or stay. Maybe the original home that you started with us in, maybe that isn't as conducive as it could be at this point. So we've had individuals that temporarily leave that environment. We still get to work with the individual. We still can work with the family. So
I love that you guys don't force it and that, like,
Right.
you
Yeah.
will refer out to you.
Yeah.
Right. Like, even if they.
We do it here too. Like, if we can't help someone, like, we're not going to lie to them. Just-
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Like, we're not going to gatekeep it.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We'll refer out. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Whatever
crazy.
helps.
Okay, I have a question for both of you.
Okay.
Okay. It's been on my mind. It's
Okay.
really important.
All right.
When you make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, do you put the peanut butter on first or the jelly?
I use, like, the Goobers mix.
Oh, wow.
That's
Stole
you're
my
cheating.
answer. Stole my
That
answer.
is cheating.
But the truth is, it's been a long time since I've made a peanut butter and jelly. I did eat a Crustable a few days ago. I have
That's
probably eaten
really
a
cheating.
Crustable. I've probably eaten like one Crustable ever in my life, but for some reason I wanted it on Monday and I ate it.
Hey.
So everything's pretty convenient for me these days. I have not actually made an old-fashioned peanut butter and jelly.
Okay.
But if I had to guess, I'm a peanut butter lover, so I would probably start with peanut butter.
Okay. I just want to make sure no one's a serial killer here.
Um,
That you're good.
Wait,
Okay.
wait. So
Supposedly.
I put bananas on mine too sometimes.
Well, that
actually
sounds really
sounds
good.
good.
That sounds amazing.
that sounds good.
But if you do jelly first and then you stick
Oh yeah.
the knife that has jelly in it in the peanut butter and then try to put the peanut butter on top of it, I feel like I just can't trust you.
And logically, that
Like,
just
it makes no
doesn't
sense.
make sense.
It makes
to
no
me.
sense.
Like, yeah.
Not only is that not efficient, but you
Yeah.
also might kill me in my sleep. You know? It's like, I can't. No. So, Charity, tell me anything that you guys have, like, coming up or that you want us to know, want everyone to know about what's going on with the Wear and anything big news.
Oh, what's going on with Aware? Well, we are growing. We're growing in Virginia. We actually officially went live in the Virginia Beach, Norfolk region
Nice.
in April.
Just last month.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
incredible.
So, officially, we have staff that live out in the region. And so we're hubbed there now, as well as the, central region. Aware as an organization, we just opened up in Georgia and Atlanta.
Nice.
So, yeah, we're really trying to really expand, access to in-home addiction treatment.
So, like, someone that's at home wanting treatment, part of it is you guys come out to their home and meet with them. I'm sure some of it's virtual,
Yeah.
on the phone,
Or video.
video.
Yeah.
Video.
Video.
Can someone that's incarcerated participate in the program?
Now, we can't do it that way.
Okay.
Not while they're incarcerated. Also, not simultaneously with some of the higher level of cares. So if they're in like inpatient or like a residential 3.5, 3.1, we can't do it simultaneously. But they can be in our program along with an IOP
Okay.
or a regular outpatient.
Okay.
They can see our internal therapist and their outside therapist, or they can already have an outside therapist and not utilize our internal therapist. So we try to work with other systems, other, treatment providers as much as possible.
So when you guys have like a client, because you guys seem like you you give like all like it's all a package deal, right? Do you guys have like a psychiatrist or someone that is able to provide them with like psychiatric like medicine?
So we do complete psyche vows.
Okay.
And depending on that, we do refer out to other psychiatrists in the community. We don't do a lot of like psychiatric prescribing.
Okay.
There's some ability to bridge a medication if a person is coming from treatment and they just ran out. So until they get to their outside provider and things of that nature.
You know, like detox meds.
So outside of detox meds, but yes, we can do some MAT
Okay.
as well.
Okay, so MAT, but not like straight detox, right? Like, can you do like can you guys help with like a supervised alcohol or opiate or benzo detox?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
it depends on the complexity of the case. We have to determine if it's safe to do this in the home.
That's a big thing that like I think people,
huge.
you know, most of the time would want to go somewhere to detox, or they feel like they need to. Like
Yeah.
that's awesome that you like the option is there
Yeah.
that they can do it from home.
Yeah.
So I mean, if it's a pretty simple, basic
Yeah,
detox,
it's safe.
and it's safe. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so where is everywhere? You guys are in like 6 states now, right? I just made 6 up, but I know it's more than like 2.
It's let me name them. I always do better when I name them. So we're in Virginia, of course. We're in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, Maine, Massachusetts, Ohio, Indiana, Kentucky, Florida, and Georgia.
11 states.
Yeah.
Wow. That's that's crazy because I remember like a couple years ago, it was just like I want to say it was like Connecticut, maybe like Ohio.
Actually, no, Ohio is
That's new.
still a baby like Virginia.
Okay, was like I was like
But
it was just
Connecticut
a couple.
is the original,
the OGs.
aware state, the OG.
The OGs.
That's the OG.
That's crazy. Oh. Well, Art, do you have any other questions for Charity?
No,
Okay.
it's awesome. Love the
So,
work you guys are doing.
yeah, Charity, tell people how they can get in contact with you.
All right, you can get in contact with us by visiting www.awarerecoverycare.com. You can also find us on social medias, LinkedIn, Google.
You say .com?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
All right. And with that, we're going to wrap up today's show. Thank you so much, Charity, for stopping by and taking time out of your busy schedule. We really appreciate it. And with that, you guys, we're out.